All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. Welcome back to All Box and Everything. Make sure y'all subscribe. All right, Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. Shakur Stevenson, he was able to unify the junior lightweight titles, man. Good job. Shout out to Shakur Stevenson. He went in there and boxed a good game, put on a nice clinic versus Oscar Valdez in this fight. So we got a little bit of everything this past Saturday. We got fight of the night. We got a good slugfest with the women throwing down with the slugfest, and then we got a nice little shutout clinic for Shakur Stevenson. So, real quick, just want to give my post-fight thoughts on this one. I enjoyed the fight. I thought it was a good performance by Shakur Stevenson. I think that the kid, he has a lot of promise. Definitely. He's past that now. He's a unified champion now. So I think that what Shakur Stevenson showed this Saturday definitely shows that he's going to be a bit of a threat. Probably from 130, 135 to 140, and I think that the more and more, he just gains this experience, and the more and more he just keeps showing up, putting on these type of fights, he's really going to be a force, in boxing for the, next decade possibly, I think he stands out over a lot of fighters just because of, his youth on his, not just because of the youth on his side, but the fact that he's young and he's very disciplined. This was a good fight where you could just see the discipline in him, just fighting behind the jab for 12 rounds. Like, how many times do you ever see a guy nowadays just commit to a jab for 12 rounds, you know what I mean, and just take their opponent apart and just fight a very, very good technical fight? I'm not going to say it was a cautious fight, or like, oh, he's being overly safe. No, he just fought a good technical fight. And that's what you want to see. Like, I don't want to see somebody fight too safe and too cautious because that can make for a boring fight. I just want to see somebody fight a technical fight. And when I say just technical, I'm saying that the guy with more technique is just committed to his technique because he knows that this guy doesn't have the skills like him. Like Valdez, good boxer, definitely. But there's levels. And I already knew Shakur Stevenson, who I picked, could go in there and just out-technique this guy and still make it an exciting fight because you're just going to see this guy go in there and rip punches. And anytime Valdez tries to go in there and do something and to get the guy in trouble, Shakur Stevenson just going to make that adjustment and start going right back to technique. You know what I mean? He's not going to let you draw him into a firefight. He's not going to run from you. He's going to stay right there, dodge you, slip you, jab, beat you up with power shots, uppercuts to the body. And that's what he did. Valdez, I maybe gave 2 rounds in this fight, if that. I think round 3 was the only one where I seen him have some success when he tried to close distance and land a few right hands and started going to the body. But he couldn't get past the jab. I mean, he had the wrong approach with that peekaboo guard. I mean, the peekaboo guard was just not effective for him because Shakur could just pick him apart from that distance. He said, okay, his hands are here, both at his face. I know they're not going to throw any power shots or any good jabs, so I'm going to just keep slamming this in his face, throw these right hands around the side, or throw this left uppercut or right uppercut down the middle and, bust through his guard, right? So a lot of that was going down, throughout these rounds, and just a lot of twisting and turning of playing the matador for Shakur Stevenson, So Oscar Valdez, he had his moments when he would have that burst, like he would land a right hand here or there, but I think he needed to play more at the mid-range and keep his hands not so high up he could see the jab coming and maybe counter the jab with his right hand. But no, he never really made any adjustments in here. You just saw like his face getting reddened by these power shots and this, spear and jab. And, I saw Kenny Bayless get mad at the joust, and how he sticks the jab out, just slams it and keeps it there in his head. I mean, maybe it's like a certain amount of time you can't keep it there, but, Larry Holmes, he used to do it. I have no problem with that, with the probe and jab where you kind of stick it out there. That's what they do in the gyms, in drills. They stick it out there and they make you, when you're training, you have to kind of slip it. So it should have been on Valdez to start slipping in like Tyson and, wade his way in and hook to the body, right? But, yeah, I mean, you can't keep it out there forever, though, like 5 seconds like that. I mean, if like 2 seconds, it ain't no thing. But I think he gave him like a hard warning towards the end of the fight. So he was a little lenient with it. So, yeah, overall, though, it was a solid performance by Shakur Stevenson. I would like to see, well, first off, I think that, Shakur Stevenson, his jab was very important in this fight, and I think that's something a lot of fighters, they need to really work off. Young kids now, it ain't all about, just going in there being flashy. Like Shakur wasn't being the flashiest fighter, right? But he was being the more committed, gifted fighter, and I think that's where you stand out. Like Andre Ward, You know, when he was, doing his thing and running super middleweight, like he wasn't all about being flashy, but his technical skills just made me say like, wow, this guy here, he's really like committed to being the best fighter and just being dominant, right? And I think the more Shakur Stevenson does that, he'll be like Errol and Terrence Crawford, where it's just all about, you know, taking the fundamentals and making it your own, I think a lot of fighters, they get caught up trying to be like Floyd and emulating Floyd or emulating Roy, that they forget about the basics and just being themselves. Like I think Shakur is about to be himself now, same with like Devin Haney, kind of, reminds people of Floyd, but I think Devin Haney's kind of like his own fighter now, even like Tank, he can't be Mike Tyson. I think Tank, he can be his own fighter. But yeah, final thoughts though. I enjoyed the fight from here. I would love to see, Shakur, well, maybe not at 140, but maybe I'd like to see him in the 135 range, maybe fight the winner of Haney Kambosos, maybe become undisputed in his division. He's already unified. Maybe fight Tank Davis. I mean, the list goes on and on, man. There's a lot of names out for this kid, But yeah, good performance. My thoughts on the little brawl after. I know his mom was trying to get into the press conference. They need to go easy on the kid, Shakur. I mean, he was trying to defend his mom. You know what I mean? So they always give praise to, crazy, wild meatheads when they try to go out there and throw dollies like Conor McGregor, Khabib jumping over the fence, jumping into the crowd. They give those guys passes, give Shakur a pass for defending his mom, right? And that's what I got to say on that, guys. But, yeah, let me know what y'all thought of the fight. Combo Breaker 99. Subscribe, all boxing, everything. I'm out. Peace.